Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, indeed, we are focusing again on the state of the nation. You heard some focus on the economy. We will also touch on that one this morning. Well, we're joined by a man with many caps, but he's a former president of Nigeria Academy of Engineering, and above all, he was a delegate at the national conference. Thank you for coming on, Engineer Vincent Maduka.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's becoming a dominant narrative now. What do we do to ensure, first and foremost, the economy? Different viewpoints hitting the front pages, as we also saw today. But looking at the big picture in terms of the direction that this country is going, what's your impression?
Well, to start with, economics is supposed to be a science. To that extent, it's a means of prediction. I mean, a science like is something that has a formula. If you do A, B, C, D, you get E. But economists themselves say on the one hand something, on the other hand another. So nothing. A man says we should devalue. But somebody is going to tell you that you should not devalue. Now, what we want to hear is under what conditions will devaluation lead to improvement in the economy, in the welfare of people. And there are conditions which, if you meet, devaluation becomes the best thing to do. There are other conditions under which you do not devalue. And so we've got two people arguing about whether we should devalue or we should not devalue. But that really is an administrative matter. What the man on the road, what the man in the house wants is a meal. He wants a good living standard for himself and his family. Now, how do we get there? That's, for me, the most important thing. Rather than academic debate on, because I'm not an economist anyway, so it's not something I can.
Yeah, but looking at because governments usually are faced with, they're bogged down with so many things.
Yes.
But now you have security, we've got economy, which on the front pages, we also have the fight against corruption. But in terms of the style of governance with this administration, many people wanting them to say so many things at the same time and address their challenges, how would you say they're faring?
Not too well, in my opinion, because there should be somebody in the last 3, 4, 5 years when this party that came into power has been campaigning, there must be somebody who is addressing every subject. I mean, not one person, but somebody in charge of one issue at a time, so that when you come into government, you've got your policy in place and you should be ready to roll. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's perfect when you hit the ground, but you cannot spend another 6 months, 1 year looking at the problem, because you have had research groups, you've had experts, you've had advisors, all studying the issues. So we could have done much more.
You know, thinking back now, let's look at what you also participated in. You represented your professional group at the national conference. Perhaps, do you think that came up as a manual that this administration would have been able to latch on to? Are there things that you thought that we are ignoring that they would have been able to latch on to and put us steps ahead what we are presently on?
Well, the conference itself, two things I'll say about the conference. One, it was not to address what you call short-term issues. It was really to define a new way for Nigeria to go, which is like a vision, really, a political vision, and that it tackles so many areas of our lives. I think at the end of the day, there were 600 decisions for the government to make. Some of them were constitutional, in which case they were difficult. Some were simply legislative, in which case government would have taken a bill to the assembly. And some were policy matters which a head of government, the president, could just have undertaken at an executive level. But this particular government, the APC government, boycotted that conference. They refused to send any nominee. I mean, there were party men, but they were not there representing the APC. So we have to realize that they boycotted that conference. And so even if there are things that they can use from their own partisan point of view, they may not be willing to identify those things with the conference. But you don't have to identify with the conference. If it's something you think is a good idea, you can go ahead and implement it. But there are not too many things that we dealt with at the conference which are necessarily short-term administrative matters. Not too many things. And the issue of the economy is the first business of any government. They can be capitalists, they can be socialists. These days there are no extremes. But the first thing is to address the well-being of the people.
And for some people, that's why this debate on whether or not to devalue the naira. I know you already said that you're not an economist, but what is happening now is that a lot of those ideas of the economists are being thrown out, the argument for and against, and it would seem that a lot of Nigerians are beginning to see, have their minds as to, what the action of government is meant to achieve, or what it might not achieve, especially because it's beginning to also affect the private sector and could in fact affect jobs in the long run, which is what the ordinary man out there is concerned about. What would be your take from all that you've seen of this debate so far? Where do you stand in terms of, devaluation?
If you have dollars and you don't have dollars, I don't have dollars, it's a good thing. That's why I was talking about on the one hand, on the other hand. Now, if you import goods and you pay for those goods in dollars, devaluing officially, because what the debate is really official devaluation. The value of the dollar is what naira you pay for it. I would pay nearly 400 naira for it. But I would do so because it is worth my while. If you have an apple which is imported at 100 naira in the bag or 1,000 naira in the bag, and you have oranges which are local, now I would ordinarily not expect that devaluation will make a difference, or your official evaluation of the naira will make a difference to the cost of my oranges. It does in the long run. But for the ordinary man, I'm not sure that devaluation, official devaluation, is an issue. Official devaluation would be an issue for large-scale investors, especially if they are foreigners. They bring their goods in dollars, and they want to be pretty clear what they are going to take away. Because if you brought your goods in dollars at 200 naira, and after you've sold your goods, you want to take back your dollars, and you are now going to take back your dollars at 400 naira to the dollar, then you are going to be selling your goods with 400 naira in mind. Therefore, we have a situation which is now left to the buyer on the one hand and the seller on the other hand to decide. If you have an official rate, then the decision is not between us as individuals. It's a government decision. Those who say don't devalue, they have an argument. They say most of their business is in dollars. The things we all hanker after are imported. So we'll be paying more for them. To discourage going after imported goods, ordinarily you should make imported goods more expensive than local goods. So if you devalue officially, you are making that decision for all of us. But if you fail to make that decision, which is not necessarily irresponsible or incompetence, what those who are not devaluing say is that by not devaluing, they are making it difficult for you to access easy foreign currency. They are making it difficult for you. But if you have goods to export. They are making it easy for you.
I like the fact that you used, two common commodities which,
Yes.
are readily available,
Yes.
apples and oranges.
Yes.
Are we aware, is the everyday Nigerian aware of the effect that his or her choice might make on even a decision as simple as either choosing to buy apples or oranges?
He doesn't make that decision himself. The price makes the decision for him. One is priced in naira, one is priced in dollars. But we know that our market women, like everybody who is in business to make money, says, look, the apple has gone up double in price, right? Without any other value added, just simply the exchange rate. So why should I keep my orange at the same price? So I add about 20% to my orange. I don't double it, 20, 30%. But he's not entirely stupid or being evil, because she is also going to buy some dollar-denominated things and needs more naira to pay for the same thing herself. Therefore, her own cost of living is going up, and therefore she raises her prices on totally naira-based goods in order to make up to make her buying power higher when she's going to buy a laptop or whatever for her child.
I still find it, it's still not clear where precisely you seem to see the merits and demerits of both,
Yeah.
of both of them.
Yes.
But what precisely do you stand?
Where I stand will depend on what I do. If I was importing goods, then I would say, look, let me know at what price I can get my goods. Because what's happening now is that if it's consumer goods, general consumer goods, which are not, from the point of view of government, not terribly critical, you pay more. First of all, you won't get official dollars. So you shop for dollars on the open market, you call it, black market, whatever, and you're paying twice as much as if you were twice as much as you would have gotten it officially. But government is trying to discourage your bringing in worthless goods. Toothpicks properly should be denominated in dollars in Nigeria because they're imported. And what government is saying is, don't go and buy dollar-based toothpicks. Buy naira-based toothpicks.
Do we have naira-based toothpicks?
So go and make. Let your child, if you have 10 kids, let them sit down in the morning sharpening brooms.